Hello there, everybody. This is Surveillance of Lancer Armory, and I'm here to showcase Trisha the Hellcat. So, Trisha is a transforming avatar with basically one set outfit, but it's layered and separated into different colors. So, instead of going into like all these details that I normally do, I'm just going to go kind of right into it. So we're going to start off with the clothing. So there's the top clothing, which is the dress, the pauldrons, the collar, the pants. And that is controlled with a radial, which most of the things on here is controlled by a radial with the face tracking and save parameter space and whatnot. So when you take off the dress, the chest fizz bones and the butt fizz bones will be changed without the pauldrons. So as you can see, when the dress turns off, pauldrons change, or bleh. Physics change. All right. Next thing is underleather, so which is the bodysuit and the arm sleeves and the undercollar, or the choker rather. And basically you just go through the radial until everything's off, and then the next we have the underwear. The underwear is the bra and panties. And so each of these radial sets, other than the underleathers, is basically attached to the body directly onto the mesh, so that you can't ever really be naked because of like render clipping, where things go like through like an object, and then all of a sudden you can see through like clothing and whatnot. Can't do that down here because the things that are attached to the body are the underleathers, and the accessories and the pasties. Right. So because this is going on YouTube, won't be taking off the pasties, but we'll go ahead and go into the accessories. The accessories are the harness, which the harness is the leg details, the rib cage details, and then the actual chain harness. And go through all of that. And the jewelry is the earrings, the thumb ring, and all of the piercing. Go ahead and switch. Kind of go through that. Right. So that's the jewelry. Just turn it all back on. And then the chains is the bracelet, the armband, and the chains that wrap around, and the chains that dangle. So you can go through the radial. All right, and turn the harness back on. And then we're going to go back to the underleathers, and we'll just stay right there. Then after that, we'll go into the customization. So we got tail sway, nice little idle animation that all of the tails are controlled with. We got the thickness slider, so you can become super thick. We have the chit scaler, which they can actually become smaller because the default's at 25, so you can actually make it smaller. So this is pretty much the smallest that everything gets on this avatar. Then we go into the tails. So we have this tail, and then we have this tail with the flame tip. Then after that we have the big floofy tail, So if you want to be like a hellhound, or you just really want a floofy tail, then we have bobtail. As you see, it has its own idle animation. Then we have no tails. Go back to that. I got a scaler on the tail. It's mainly for the floof tail. For those that want a really big floofy tail. Or you just want your tail to be a little bit bigger. We also have a radial for over the shoulder. So you can bring your tail over the shoulder and you can kind of post it. That will also affect the floof tail. Then we have a wraparound. Do note that they are sending colliders to the forearms and the body. So, yeah, which that is just a straight up toggle. Then we have the head. So we have the ears. These are the default ears. I usually wear it at 25, which are these ears, round ears. The floppy ears, which are flame ears for the hellhound. I was originally going to take it off, but some of my friends kind of wanted to keep them, so I went ahead and kept them. Although, if you're not going to use them, I recommend just deleting them off the base mesh. You can turn off the interactions, which the interactions are pretty much the base Kiki interactions. You got your hair, you got your hip hat, you got your ear pull. If you can grab the ear, but so the earrings have their own separate fizzbone. This avatar has a lot of fizzbone components, so like if it should move, it will move basically on this avatar. Go ahead, stay on this. We got fangs. Obviously have face tracking. We have alt eyes. These are the Hellcat eyes, but you can switch to them being quote unquote Trisha normal. Then we have the fox head. Then we have the hair radial. The hair radial there is let me go to the back. I'll slowly go through those again. Okay, and then we have digigrade legs, like if you are here after buying Tabitha. This is basically a slim version of Tabitha, smaller head, more pronounced nose bridge. You can still use the Kiki textures on this. However, this also has a re-UV'd texture layout, so if you want to add Kiki textures and you're using Payomi, make sure that you switch the UV slots over to UV1, because UV1 is now the Kiki UVs, while UV0 is now my high fidelity texture dill. Basically, re-UVing everything so I can get the details where I want them to be and not where I don't really need, aka nipples. Okay, so that's all the head. That's pretty much all the customization. All right, now we'll go into the Hellcat radial. And the Hellcat radial, go ahead and start with the spirit orbs. Let's switch here. So you have just the ball, horns, or all of it. You can grab the orb. You can also see it. You can place it. Other people can grab it, but they cannot place it or pose it. Because, in fact, most of the things on the avatar, other people can grab, but they can't pose. I don't know about you, but I've run into people that like to fuck with his bones and whatnot. So I got rid of that ability to do so. All right, so now let me introduce you to the Hellcat. So if you want, you can actually, let me go close again. Give you a nice look at it. Although the lighting won't actually show this, but so the glow emissions will get brighter depending on the lighting. So if it's bright out, kind of like this, they'll be very subtle. However, in your dark area, they'll be way more prominent. In Payomi, I did the light-based emission, and there's actually 4 different layers of that emission layers, using like mat caps and whatnot. All right, so you can also, if you want, I can just instantly switch back, is you can turn off the particle animation and just that. Although, because the way I had it, is the horns and the eyes will slowly change. The eyes, specifically these eyes, are using N2's eye shader. You will have to have audio link in your project for this shader to work. However, if you don't want to use eye shader, you want to use a texture, any circle eye textures that's in a single centered whatnot eye texture will work on these eyes. These are not the Kigi eyes. These are the eyes that I made for the Kigi. Right? Okay. All right, so the next thing after that is spike fires. So although this world makes the smoke very prominent for some reason, most worlds the smoke is not that noticeable, but you can turn on the little fires. So all the little spikes that are all over the avatar is where the little fires will come out. This is on a radial, and you can, so after 76%, you'll get a nice little slow burn sound and whatnot. Also note that the particles do have a slight light emission, so keep in mind that, but I've actually never had any load lag with particle lights, because I'm not actually turning on the light source. So when you do lit up particles, you connect it with it on, and then you turn off the light source, and then you can actually have lit particles without actually getting that really, really heavy load, because these particles only like emit like very short. I actually have it off, and I'm gonna go ahead and go into the fire eyes. So these are the fire eyes. Turns on around 50-ish, or no, it turns on around like 45 on the radial, and then once you get about 73, 75, your eye lights turn on. These don't have shadow, so they will go through walls. If you want that, you can go to the highlights and you can add shadows, but just know that lights with shadows are a much heavier load than lights without. Okay. Then we got fire breathing. This is VO's fire breathing that I edited. I've been using VO's fire breathing for a really long time, and I've kind of changed it a lot, but the core of it's still there. So on mine, it's triggered by doing double finger point. Got pretty good range. Well, technically VO is actually not VO, it's Violent Painter, but besides the point. So you have the like scaling and whatnot. It's not his newer fire breathing with like the face tracking where you like, open the mouth and stuff. I might implement that in a future deal. All right. Then we have the dash system, which is left fist. You can fly. And then right fist, if you do that same thing. Did I fly to the wrong spot? Nope. So there's that. All right, now we'll go into the magic system that you can put on other avatars, although it is meant for this avatar, but I did make it as a prefab so that you could easily put it on and take it off the avatar. So if you don't want the system, but I did build it in such a way that you could use it on other avatars. But if you're wanting to use it for an avatar you want to sell or whatever, please buy the release form of it. That's all I ask. Otherwise, I don't really care if anyone uses it on their avatars. I'm pretty lenient on my stuff. So this is the fire system, or the Hellfire magic system. All right, so anytime you make a fist, you will get fire effect. I have this to where it like cuts off, and I would like for it to like stay on, but because of the way I set up the system, I actually had to make it to where that didn't happen. So there's that. Almost everything else, on the other hand, does work that way. It's where the particles will stay emitting for a little bit after you turn it off. So the first thing is whenever you make a fist and then you make a pointer finger and then you punch, you will shoot fire. Oh. So also, it's either or. There is another video that goes like more into depth into the magic system. I'm still probably going to go into depth into this, but blah, 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 blah. I've done this video like 4 or 5 fucking times. I was editing the last video and I decided I just wanted to redo it. All right, so the next thing, well, actually we'll switch over to this one. If you make a left fist, then peace, the rings will go under there, because fist activates the flight, and then generally if you're using a quest controller, you're touching the joystick. I also make it to where my jump is my joystick, specifically my right joystick, and then you can fly around, whatnot. Just know if you don't have full body and you have locomotion on, your legs will do this number while flying. So there's that. And then if you do rocker with your left hand and you extend it forward, you will shoot magic missiles. Let's see. I can probably hit that wall and you kind of see like the little effect that it does when it hits. Okay. And then if you do peace, fully extended above you, you will do missiles. And then if you do double fist and you stop with out forward, however, if you want, you can actually just have your foot forward and just do double fist, and it'll pretty much trigger. Just know that the collider on the ground is linked to the head, so it will rotate with the head. So whatever direction you're looking is where the collider will be. Right. And the last thing is, so going into this mode, and then you bring these together, you'll go invisible. Just know that any particle you have on, like this particular particle, will stay on. So I kind of did this to kind of basically have something to like represent like you, basically. But if you don't want that on, you have to turn that off manually. It does have a like fist bone. You can also do this. And to come out of it, you just have to do double thumbs up. And that, I think, is pretty much it. There's a lot of not safe for work stuff on here. It's fully set up for like bulging and all that jazz, like fully interactable, you know. If you bought any of my avatars, you kind of know what I already do. Nope, that's actually it, all of it, because we still have hue shifts and emissions. So the base matte emission on this will look a little bit different than it does on the Trisha side. Or I was gonna say human side, but it's not even human. So you can make yourself look metallic. And then there's the tattoo. Do know that the tattoos is light based, so if you're not in a lit area, they will not be shown. Basically, again, it's another one of the light based emissions. You can make yourself brighter. You can make yourself darker, but it's only for like the base avatar, so you can basically black yourself out. And then we have the matte cap hue. Controls all of these colors. Then we have the emission hue. Controls all of these colors. And we have the main hue. So we're going to go to 50, 52, and like 50. All right. And then I'm going to turn off the transformation and show you kind of what all that looks like. There is also a bunch of prefabs of this avatar. So there's ones that transform, which is like the full one. Like this current one is like the full avatar, and I get max frames doing pretty much all of this stuff. Like I never get any input lag or draw call lag. Oh yeah, the different types. So there's ones that transform, where it has like the transformation switch between the two, and then there's ones where it's like it's only this version or only that version. This is if you want to save texture memory and like overall download size. As well as versions without face tracking, ones with face tracking, and then ones with the magic system, ones without the magic systems, one with the not safe for work stuff, and then ones without not safe for work. And then I have a couple blank versions of each. Basically, it doesn't have like, it has like the core stuff of the avatar, like changing the clothing and all that stuff, but it doesn't have like all the add-ons like the particle systems and whatnot. Like all that's taken off. That the way you kind of have like a blank canvas to do whatever you want to. There was something else. I know there was something else. Face tracking. Well, let's go ahead and put the clothing back on. Oh yeah, I also have the onesie, the dark onesie. Not really meant to be worn with the dress, but pretty much everything else. The arm chains apparently clip. Never really noticed that before, but it was. I kind of wanted to keep it because I kind of liked the way it looked. From Tabitha. There is also going to be kind of a spoiler, Tabitha's sister that's coming out that has basically this body, but a bunch of different clothes. Think more biker and less goth. But kind of the same vibes and whatnot. It's going to have like this body, smaller head, like Tabitha had a bigger head. Her sister's is going to have the smaller head like this, and the slimmer body and the more athletic build and whatnot. So you know what? Let's do this. Turn off all that. So that's one of the missions, and we're going to give me a little pussy. Oh, thought I went into flight mode. Flying. Transform. Go ahead and just make this brighter so you can actually see it. So, let's see. Let's change the direction of this. As you can see, the dark zones are flat, and then the skin like zones are shiny, which is kind of what I was trying to show. But all right, with that, that's it. I'm done. I'm not re-recording this. Deuces. I kept it under 30 minutes.